I have some more worthwhile content. This next video that I'm going to be sharing, which I'll kind of pop up right here, is a short stretch video that I recorded a couple days ago with the hopes of just introing basic stretching. I'm going to let it play and just give commentary on it. So I hope this is helpful for you. Boom. We'll start there for a second. All right, so we start off with some wrist rolls. The fingers are interlaced, and you're just kind of leading with one hand. Usually I lead with the right hand. And if you want, you can reverse, lead with the other hand. Then I go into some roller coasters. This is to articulate through the fingers, the wrist, the elbows. Make sure you reverse the direction when you kind of get the flow. Um, just shifting my weight from right to left because sometimes it gets a little bit boring. Now I'm doing some fist circles. So I'm gluing my elbows and my arms to my side, and I'm just rolling the wrists in tight little fists. 5 in one direction, 5 the other. We go on to some elbow circles. So now it's just the elbow joint that's kind of rotating in and out. Think about your shoulder blades kind of glued together in the back, widening across the front of the chest. Then we start some shoulder rolls backwards. Do maybe 5 or so. Let your head go down if you'd like. Let the head go up. See if you notice a difference in the stretch and the sensation as you change the angle of the head. Now start circling the shoulders forwards. Nice and easy. You're really trying to articulate through the whole range of motion through the joint. Our shoulders have lots of range of motion. So we want to then pivot to some right arm circles backwards. Imagine that the arm that's circling backwards is starting to free up. Let your torso move if you'd like. Notice how I'm kind of rocking my weight and leaning. When you're ready, reverse. So bring a couple of circles forwards. That free hand is on the chest. Just sometimes that helps me connect to what's going on in that circling arm. I'm letting the whole body move with these circles now as I'm circle forwards. And we switch to the left arm. Nice and easy, circling backwards. Nice big circles. Imagine you're right next to a wall. That usually helps. Now we're circling forwards. Let there be some big circles. This is a little dramatic, so you don't have to do it this dramatic where there's that head movement. Now we just do some flinging of the arms. Alternate which arm goes on top. Be gentle if your shoulders feel like they're a little unprepared for this. Don't fling them too hard, but you know, get some energy opening up, and then we wrap the arms around the body. We're trying to take those fingers and grab the shoulder blades. Maybe do a little pivot, let the hips go away from the knees. You come back up, and we go to the other side. Same thing, let the hips shoot out if you like, or keep the hips over the knees. This is sort of your own kind of jam right now. And we go back to the arms, flinging them open and close. And usually I try and alternate which arm is on top. So now we're with the other arm on top, really trying to hug ourselves and compress, maybe create a couple of circles. Let the upper torso breathe and move around. Yeah. Let the head go back if you feel like it. It's always nice to let your head go back a little bit. And we're off to some head circles, head rolls. So nice and easy. Maybe do 5 in one direction. Take your time. Really let the head go back as you circle backwards. I think we're coming up on the reverse. Now we're going the opposite direction. Nice and easy. Again, really let the head go to the side. Let the head go to the back. And as it goes back, think about something cradling the back of your head. So you don't crank into the back of the neck. You stay lifted. Now we're just kind of move into a little bit of swaying. I usually don't do this, but this part is just something I felt at the moment. So you can let your body sway from right to left. Get a little side bend. Trying to relax the shoulders. And good old fashioned hip circles. You can't beat them. So the feet are a little bit wider than hip distance. Hands can be cradling the back of the lower back by the sacrum area almost. Feel free to reverse the direction, and as you circle, you can keep a little bend in the knees, so soften the knees a little bit, or the hands can be on the hips. Maybe you would prefer to have them on your hips, but you're just circling. Don't be afraid to let the pelvis go to the front, and we're jumping into some butt kickers. So we're just gently kicking the heel up to the bum to let the front of the quad stretch, and we're doing some gentle opposite hand to opposite knee taps. Just get some nice cross lateral movement. It's a nice line of energy to start working. Maybe you lose your balance like I did. Try go a touch slower where you think about the leg just floats up. And we're off to just opposite hand to opposite foot behind the back, tapping the heel. Foot. Notice I went from just kind of little taps to then making them big torso taps where I'm letting my body lean from right to left. Now I'm doing more of like a let the leg kick up and back. Before I was just bending at the knee, now I'm letting the leg go up, back, and then to the opposite. It's kinda nice, it's nice spiraling movement. You can always use more of that. Same thing to the front, opposite hand to opposite foot, point the foot, try and tap the foot wherever you can. Think about that free arm that's not tapping the foot, staying active, right? So we have energy going in both directions, away from the middle of the back, out through the fingertips. Just doing some knee circles now. So hands are on the knees, feet are together, and we're just gently circling the knees in one direction, and then reverse. Think about spreading your toes out, trying to grab the floor with your feet. Shake the legs out. Hands go on the hips. We extend the right leg out. You do 5 flex and a point. So flex and a point, flex and a point, flex and a point. Some circles one direction. Nice big tarsus. We usually call it the ankle, but these are tarsus. All the bones in the foot, the tarsus, that whole joint structure. Circle both directions. And we'll go to the other foot. We do a 5 flex and a point, flex and a point, flex and a point, flex and a point, flex and a point. Some circles one direction. Nice and smooth. Yep. And reverse the direction, getting the ankles, the foot awake for your day, wherever you are. And then I like to do this is this like toe heel out, a little bit wider than hip distance, toe heel back in. This is nice just for building up weight shift awareness between the balls of the feet and the heels. I went off the mat because it was a little slippery. So if your floor surface is a little slippery, find something that gives you a little bit more grip. Oh, shit. Do some releves. So we're just going up and down on the tippy toes. Be aware of where the weight is shifting. Try and keep it over the big toe. Yep, we're just going up and down, nice and smooth. Hands are on the hips just to kind of find your balance. They could be in a T if you want. Shake them out. And then I think we go into some single leg balance. We send the right leg back. Arms are in a T. That left leg is trying to grab the ground through all the toes. Energy's pouring out through the arms, the right and left arm. And that back right leg that's up, we're pointing our foot, energy going out through that foot. Shake it out. Get ready to go to the other side. Arms go into a T, left leg goes back. We point that left foot. We slowly angle up. Arms keep pouring out away from the spine through the top of the head. That left leg gets nice and long. The right leg goes down into the ground. All this different energy we're sending. Shake it out. This is kind of fun. I normally don't do this, but I felt like doing little bunny hops. So we're just jumping from right to left. Be very gentle. Our feet should be awake now. So now we're going forwards and backwards, little forwards and backwards, using the arms to kind of pump and keep you elevated. Yep. So we start to circle the arms a little bit. Arms can help a lot with jumping, so we're just kind of gathering up energy with the arms and the legs. Trying to point through the feet, shake them out. We're doing arms go opposite direction. One arm goes forward, the other one goes backwards. Each time we get a little bit higher with the arms till we get to the top, at which point we're gonna go opposite full 360. So one arm is going all the way around forwards, other's going backwards. Notice that I'm letting my torso move, right? And then reverse. Yep, so let your torso spiral. Just gonna show you this way. Again, one goes forward, other one goes backwards. Slowly getting higher and higher, and then full circles. Trying to carve space with those arms. Keep thinking about pouring energy into the ground through the feet so that you can start to stay lifted through the top of the head. Couple little slow air squats. These are always good. Be nice to your knees. If your knees feel a bit grumpy, just go a little bit slower than I'm going right now. I notice I'm going a little bit fast for this. Yeah. And then we're going to start to do a couple jumps. Yeah. So we jump up and down for 2, for 3, for 4, and for 5. Cool. You could do more if you want. That's just like a little, hey, maybe I should do some jumping today. Never considered it. Then we do some curtsy squats. These are always good. So we're developing the left leg is to the front, the right leg is behind. That right foot, we're on the ball of the foot like a little kickstand. You can do these a bunch of different ways, but I'm just doing it right now with the torso elevated, so more vertical. So now the right leg is supporting, the left leg is back behind us in the kickstand with the ball of the foot. And these can be slower. I'm kind of just going through a couple more movement stuff, less stretching. This is nice just for building up strength in single leg. Shake it out. Doing a couple just slow back bends, pressing the pelvis forward, letting the head and torso go back. I root my feet into the ground. I squeeze my glutes a little bit, and as I press my hips forward, I let the torso and head, especially at the neck, I try and relax back a little bit. Go within whatever range you feel safe doing. So be aware if your back feels grumpy, then maybe you don't really do too much on this. But the key is to squeeze your glutes to protect your lower back. If you don't squeeze, you might be able to crank into your lower back. Just do a couple. I think it's great, especially for all of the sitting that we do today. Opening up the hips. And I was just trying to find what the next thing I was going to do. So we're going to do a slow roll down through the top of the head. So imagine you're in a little box and you're trying to roll and compress down to the ground. Once you find your way to the bottom, try and straighten your legs. If you can't touch the ground, you can either grab the back of the legs or you could put like a box or books or yoga blocks underneath your feet, underneath your hands so that you can kind of bridge the gap. Because it's nice to have feedback through pushing through the hands. Yeah, just a couple of bending and straightening at the knees. And then we walk out to the classic downward dog. The downward dog is like one of those, the mat's a little slippery, but stay still. Staying active through the fingers, so spreading the fingers out. Staying engaged through the shoulders, so we're shrugging through the shoulders. We're trying to melt the heels down to the ground. Breathe into the hamstrings, breathe into the calves. You can then start to make it your own, where you pedal through the feet, articulating through the whole foot as well. Maybe a double knee bend where you bend both knees and you lower your hips a little bit. Take a second. Maybe go into a low kneel where we're on the balls of the feet. We're giving the arches of the feet a stretch, getting the quads a little bit stretched. This is very simple, but it's actually, you get a lot of benefit. And we're on a high kneel up high, and then we do a side bend to the right, breathing into the lower left back area. That left hand is kind of just palpating the area and rubbing, bringing awareness and a little bit of blood flow to it. We go to the left side, same thing. That right hand is now kind of just gliding on the kidney area, bringing a little bit of warmth and awareness. And this I normally don't do in class, but this is nice little side bend. If you have the range of motion, your knees feel okay, then, you go all the way down into a low kneel. We let the arms kind of glide. The left arm now is kind of supporting us. The right arm is staying lifted and going out on the angle. Same thing to the front. We do a little side bend. You could either be on the balls of the feet or flat on your feet for this. I kind of like being on the balls of my feet because I can engage the ground a little bit. It gives me a little bit more support. Yeah. Classic straddle. This one is like you should be doing every day. Sometimes if this is too tight for people, I'll have them sit on a block or maybe you have a couple books. You can elevate your bum off the ground and you'll be able to access the stretch a little bit more. Spend time on the first leg, maybe the left leg. The idea can be rounded or flat back. Right now, I'm just using the arms to kind of spiral up a little bit. So see I'm on the right leg and my hands are kind of manipulating and engaging that right leg. Again, you might not be able to get that low in the beginning. It definitely will take you a couple months to a year at least, but you're trying to grab maybe the ankle instead of the foot. Now we go back to the left side. We do a side bend where the right arm is overhead, trying to grab the foot. If you can't grab the foot, maybe you grab a belt and you lasso your left foot with a belt, and you can use the belt to bridge the gap between where your foot and your hand are. But this is a great side bend. A lot of lower back problems are because we don't stretch in this enough. So we now go over to the other side. Same thing now with this left arm trying to grab. Well, actually, it's the left arm grabbing the right foot. Yeah, and I think that's it. That's all I've kind of put out for today. Make sure you put your shoes back on. It's crazy out here on these streets. You fold up your mat. Usually I wipe it down, but I'm gonna use it again in a little bit. So leave a comment. Um, I hope this helps. This is my first kind of intro stretch series, and as always, the beta way. Can you dig it? So, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. And if you find the video helpful, or if you have any questions, I'd love to hear more responses, feedback. It's interesting trying to look at the camera, but there's no one there right now, but someone's watching this. So this is a really trippy piece of technology. But they sell this AI software, NVIDIA. I don't think they sell it. It's just free. But the software will then just create your eyes to track right to the camera. So I could be looking down here, but the AI technology will take my eyes and put it right there. So there's something about looking at the camera that's really important. I'm working on that because I'm still working on these ideas. Either way, let me know if you have any questions or you would like more specific stretches, such as splits, bridges. There's a bunch of sequences that you could kind of just default to for several years. Big compound stretches, sort of like the back squat or the deadlift, those target a bunch of different muscle groups. There's some big stretches like splits, bridges, straddles, downward dog. Maybe those four alone. Yeah, those stretches are really global in what they kind of approach, and then that has big carryover to almost anything that we might do as humans. So, thank you again for your time. Beta today, better tomorrow, and peace out.